Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to this week's roundup. First up today, Toto Wolff has explained why the team has blocked F1's controversial plan to trial reverse grid qualifying races at some events this season, calling the idea a gimmick that the sport doesn't need and that fans do not want. Wolff laid out 3 reasons why they rejected the proposal, stating that he believes F1 is a meritocracy where the best driver in the best car wins. He added that when one race dictates the grid for another, strategies become what he describes as a very useful tool, explaining, imagine one of the drivers is not running well on the Sunday of the first weekend and you decide to DNF the car. That will be the car that starts from pole for the quali race. If that car starting on pole in the quali race is within midfielders, he will certainly be on pole for Sunday and win the race. There will be cars in the middle that will defend and block as much as they can, and therefore for the quick cars coming from behind, it will mean more risk of a DNF and that could influence the championship. Wolff also said that in terms of pure performance, the fastest team will always be penalised compared to the second and third fastest teams, as they will ultimately start in front, thus giving them an advantage. So they were the 3 reasons that he set out for blocking this proposal, but there was technically a 4th. Previously, Christian Horner has said that he felt it would be disappointing if Formula 1 didn't take the opportunity this year to try out new ideas, including reverse grid quali, but Toto Wolff disagrees and is clear that it appears even the fans aren't on board with the reverse grid quali proposal. We said this is not the time to experiment with things that interestingly didn't even have the support of Formula 1's fan community. In a survey, only 15% expressed an interest in reverse grids. You can probably guess what's coming next, but this is the topic for this week's question. What do you think about the idea of a reverse grid race on a Saturday that would set the grid for the actual Grand Prix on Sunday? You can, as ever, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below or have your say by voting on the poll, which you can find at the top right of the screen. And I will reveal the results of that vote next week, along with the 2 I forgot to do last week. Sticking with Mercedes for now though, the team's technical director James Allison has revealed that they initially wanted to have their DAS system on their cars as early as 2019. Cast your mind back to February. I know it feels like a long time ago, but go all the way back to pre-season testing and the Silver Arrows were the talk of the town in Barcelona after footage showed both Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas using the system, a system which adjusts the toe angle of the front wheels whilst the cars are still out on track. That obviously led to a lot of questions over legality, but the system was ultimately deemed legal. And although we didn't get our first look at it until this year, Allison has said that the team wanted to use it in 2019, but the FIA apparently said no to the initial design put forward, which made use of a lever system on the steering wheel, leaving the Silver Arrows in the position of having to try and integrate it into their cars legally. We first wanted to introduce this in 2019. We took our ideas to the FIA, showed them, explained why we thought it was legal. They begrudgingly agreed the dual-axis steering was actually legal. But they didn't like the way we'd done it, because the second axis we were getting from a lever on the wheel rather than whole wheel movement. They said no, you are going to have to move the whole wheel in and out. We've got a very inventive chief designer in John Owen. So John took that challenge on, put it out to our designers, and between them they cooked up 2 or 3 ways in which it might be done. We picked the most likely of those 3, and about a year after that, out popped the DAS system. As we now know, the system was declared legal by the FIA for 2020, but new regulations that were originally set to be introduced for 2021 meant that DAS would actually be declared illegal from next year. But despite the rule changes being pushed back to 2022, and teams having to use predominantly these same cars as this season next year, the clause outlawing DAS is still present in the new edition of the 2021 regulations, which means it will still be banned at the end of this year. So they can use it in 2020, but despite the regulations being pushed back, they still can't use it in 2021. Moving on, and Claire Williams has said that the team's search for investment and possibly even a buyer should only be viewed as a positive step that will help secure the team's future. Last week, it was announced that Williams is considering selling its business, which includes a possibility of selling the Formula 1 team. Now, that inevitably has led to a lot of speculation about potential buyers in the team's long-term future. But in an interview with Sky Sports F1, Williams was staying positive and spoke about the number of emails she received offering condolences for what the team was going through, but added, "I'm looking at this in a really positive perspective as this will ensure the future sustainability of our team. The Williams family has always been about that. We put our team first and we put its success first. The investment that we are looking for is going to help us achieve that." So for me, this is a good thing that we are doing, and it shouldn't be looked at in a negative way, in a disappointing way, or anything other than positive. The people at Williams understand that, and I think they are excited. This can potentially give us a very positive future. I see no reason why Williams can't be successful again and can't get it back to where we all really want to see it. That's at the higher end of the grid and doing well in every Grand Prix. My ambition for Williams will always be that this team returns to the top of the podium. As well as the positivity over the team's long-term future, Williams also addressed concerns that the team may struggle to complete the 2020 campaign, promising wholeheartedly that they are fully funded for the upcoming season and that the only thing that will change is the livery of the car. And just super quickly, something worth tagging on to the end of this story is that Bernie Ecclestone has said that Williams dropping off the grid would be a big loss for the sport and that he is personally helping the team to try and find investors. Ross Brawn has said that the 8-race European calendar that was released earlier this week would still count as an official World Championship if the rest of the season has to be called off. Now, as mentioned earlier this week, the FIA's International Sporting Code is clear that for a season to be declared as a World Championship, races must take place on at least 3 continents. However, according to a motorsport.com FIA source, given the current unprecedented global crisis, the 3-continent requirement won't have to be met, with Ross Brawn confirming, in theory, the 8 European races will constitute a World Championship. Interestingly enough, Brawn also had his say on reports claiming that other circuits in Europe could be used to make up the numbers, apparently including the likes of Imola and Hockenheim, admitting that that was an option, but arranging flyaway races remains the top priority. They are options, but they are not options we are pursuing at the moment. We are just checking out what can be done. As any sensible party would do, we are looking at what can be done on flyaways, what can be done within Europe. There are options, and we are fortunate that we've got these alternatives. We are trying to pursue Plan A at the moment. Meanwhile, Racing Point boss Otmar Safnauer has described the new 2020 calendar, which initially includes 6 races in 7 weeks, as intense but manageable, adding, "At the end of the day, we are all racers. This is our passion and we are excited to get back to it." And I think that statement is something that is echoed by a lot of motorsport fans. And finally, by the way, in other calendar-related news, the Sochi Autodrome could host 2 F1 races in 2020. Calm yourselves down. I know it's exciting. 2 races at Sochi. Wow, that's going to be entertaining. Anyway, that's according to reports in Germany. It is also believed that Singapore, Azerbaijan and Japan are likely to be cancelled altogether. And if true, that would leave F1 bosses needing to fill some more slots, hence the potential for a second Grand Prix at Sochi. It should also be noted that according to those same reports in Germany, Vietnam is apparently not keen on the idea of hosting its first race in the autumn, as it could potentially leave just half a year between that race and its second one next spring. There is also talk of the US Grand Prix moving to Indianapolis, as large events are apparently unlikely to take place in Austin before the end of the year. That is pure speculation at the moment though, nothing official on the idea of moving the race to another venue, but it is definitely something worth keeping an eye on, and we should get some more official calendar news in the coming weeks, although it has been made clear by F1 bosses that there is no deadline for releasing a full schedule. That is it for this week's roundup though. I will be back soon with more content as ever, but in the meantime, don't forget that you can of course follow me over on social media, and all of the links you need for that are in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching, and hopefully I will catch you again in the next one. Bye bye.